Hello, both sides of the conversation family. We welcome you to this virtual space crafted especially for you. My name is Jada Curry, and I'm both sides of the conversation's marketing director and graphics design specialist. I want to take some time to ground us all as a community into this space we are about to open up in, so let's go through our community standards. Both sides of the conversation is providing a safe and honest space for open conversation, so we ask that you all be respectful of that. We also ask that you be respectful of each panelist, host, and participant. We do encourage healthy debates and conversations. Don't personalize anything with anyone. This includes name-calling, bullying, trolling, or shaming. This will not be allowed or tolerated. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You do not have to agree, but show respect. These community standards apply to all of our live shows and any virtual spaces that we hold on social media, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to make sure that we are caring for each other as a community. This is our priority in all of our endeavors as both sides of the conversation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's show and continue to stay in touch with us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all of them. All right, thank you for listening and see you soon.
Welcome everybody to both sides of the conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going to have another phenomenal Sunday conversation with community. So thank you all for joining, convening with us today as we're going to be talking about join the Black Wellness Movement for this month, this 28-day push that Rafiki Coalition is putting together. And we're going to push this all throughout the year as we continue to talk about health and wealth on this platform and a host of other topics. But we want to focus on our Black health and our Black wealth in our community, as we know those are some of the issues that we really need to tackle for this year. But before we get started, I want to go over a couple of things for community. Just want to clear up a couple of things for our folks as well. I've been getting a lot of emails and people reaching out to me in our messenger. So I just want to kind of explain to everybody about our Both Sides of Conversation page, group, and some of our social media handles, because I've been getting a lot of complaints and different things about the group and what's going on. So we do have a Both Sides of the Conversation group and page. Our page is more for our sponsors and community folks who are looking for events and different things that we are doing out in the community, and a number of the resources. So most of our professional business folks who convene, they will go to our Facebook page. Our Facebook group is for community. So I just want to first put this out there. Both sides of the conversation is about having both sides of the conversation. And I know a lot of these topics that we talk about or we deal with on this platform and sometimes in our group are very triggering, and they do, for some folks, cause sometimes an uncertainty, or they just bother them with some of the topics. But the whole purpose is not to attack, bully, or cause harm to folks. But in our community, there are taboo and stigma conversations that we need to have, and sometimes they're not comfortable, but we need to have. And we appreciate the folks who are able to have open dialogue and deal with those type of conversations. We're not going to just kick out people in our group because they might be a Republican or they might be a Democrat. We're not going to do that, right? The whole purpose is to have conversations, and we don't have to always agree with everything, but I think it's okay to have the conversations. I think that's the part of healing that works. So yeah, there's funny stuff, there's memes, there are different things that takes place in the group, but the group was created to have a little bit of dialogue, to have some of these difficult conversations throughout the week. To see how we can engage and work with each other and have some of these conversations. And then the ones that we see the most engagement on are the ones that's creating the most difficult conversation. Then we'll try to bring them to the live platform and find some of those professional folks and community folks that can help facilitate those conversations so that we could bring some healing to our community. So just wanted to put that out there. All of our other social medias our Instagram, our YouTube, our LinkedIn is really for resources for the community, to connect the community, what's going on, not only with both sides of the conversation, but other community organizations to make sure that the resources get to our community. So just wanted to put that out there because a lot of people were saying, why are you guys letting these type of conversations, things happen in our group? The group is made for our community. So a lot of our allies are stepping into this group. It is a public group, but I want to make this clear. This platform is set up for the Black and brown community. We welcome everybody. Okay. There's no discrimination on anybody. We welcome no matter what your race is, your gender, we welcome everybody. But we're going to allow everybody to have their voices to be heard. And again, if you don't agree, if it's too much, I tell people just scroll on or move on to the next post or what's going on in the group. You know, there's different religious background beliefs that folks have. We're not going to turn anybody away because that's their belief. Again, if you have a disagreement or you want to talk about it, you know, do it respectfully, and we'll allow that to happen. But folks that are crossing the line in our group, we are monitoring the group, and we have reached out to a couple folks who have crossed that line, and we've asked them to watch their behavior in the group. And if we don't get the change, we'll just remove them out of the group. But again, this is an open dialogue platform for our community, and we will have difficult conversations. There'll be different things that will trigger folks in our community, but we need to have those conversations. So wanted to put that out there because I've been getting a lot of emails and things of that nature. And I just wanted to clarify that for folks to understand how to navigate both sides of the conversation. If you're looking for sponsorships, or you just looking for the corporate side of what we do, please go to our Facebook page and you'll see all of those postings there. But if you want to see and be involved with some of these conversations, our Facebook group is where a lot of the work, as they say, happens in the group. So just wanted to put that out there for community because I just wanted to make that clear as we continue to proceed. And we are cleaning up some of the things in the group. But thank you, community, for reaching out. Just wanted to let everybody know so as they're navigating our social media handles, they understand what's going on. With that being said, I want to give a huge shout out to my brother Corey for his birthday. We had a great time last night. A number of community folks came out. Today we have board president Shaman Walton and Matt Haney out campaigning in the community. Shout out to them for just showing up for community and supporting. It's always great to be out in the community with the community folks. Had an amazing time last night, just networking and communicating with our community. So happy to see all that happening. And, you know, we're just going to continue to do what we do here to impact our community. Some of the announcements that's coming in throughout the news that we heard, folks in Texas are dealing with these loud gunshot noises from trees that are exploding. As you all know, the winter storm has been moving through Texas and throughout the East Coast. And whenever you get water inside a tree, and we have some low temperatures that they've been getting as the temperatures increase and some of that water starts to dissolve, it does cause a little expanding that sounds like gunshots. So folks were in Texas having all these loud bangs and booms as trees and branches were exploding, and people were calling the police stations worried that people were shooting, but there was a number of trees that were exploding. So that's what that was going on in Texas. A lot of people was talking about that. So that was one of the things that was going on. Also, as we continue to deal with racial profiling in our community, there was some folks in Westchester that was dealing with some folks who was alleging a 60-year-old black man because he fitted the description when actually it was a 30-year-old white man that the cops should have been looking for. But again, if you're black, shopping while black, or working as black, those still things happen in our community. So just be careful out there. And a number of these type of events are still happening. This weekend, there was a number of sideshows in Oakland, a number of shootings in our community. We got a lot of work to do. Community, I know a couple of folks were hit out there, and I know these young folks are excited. And they just like the sound of muscle cars and energy and things of that nature. But as community folks and our elected officials, we're going to have to find another way to give our young folks and folks in the community a way to outlet. And, you know, I don't know if we set up a parking space or something for these folks that want to do these side shows to make it safe and allow them to have some fun in a safe manner, because these side shows are getting a little too dangerous now. You know, several people were taken to the hospital after being hit from cars spinning out of control. You know, it's just sad to see what's going on. And we've had a number of violent shootings. We had a Cal Berkeley basketball player who was shot and killed on Interstate 880 this weekend. We had a number of shootings in San Francisco and across the Bay Area. We have some work to go. I know it's trauma. I know with this virus going around, you know, folks are just going through a number of traumatic things in their life. But some of the things that we are seeing, folks are committing crimes out of desperate needs. we had to step up as community folks and organization to help put a curb to some of this. It's just getting out of control. And I'm still getting emails from our teachers. I want community to know, especially in San Francisco. I have a number of teachers who have reached out to me and said, John, please let the community folks know. Now school's back in session, to drive slower around our schools. A number of kids were almost hit this past week. Please, community folks, when you're driving through our community near schools, please reduce your speed to 15 to 20 miles per hour, especially at the times when kids are coming into school or exiting the school in the evenings, and be careful at the crosswalks. It's just sad that we still are having these issues, and we just need to protect our young folks in the community as well. With that being said, a couple of our community announcements for both sides of the conversation. We are still looking for community to continue to support us. We can use that support. If you go to the Smile at Amazon, you can sign up and choose both sides of the conversation as one of your charitable organizations. No extra cost to you, but every time you shop on Amazon, if you choose us as one of your charitable organizations, Amazon will make a generous donation to help support both sides of the conversation, the work that we are doing. Also, we have our Giving Tuesday pledge that is still going through this month to the end of this month. If you would like to support us, you always could go onto our social media handles or our website and support us at our Giving Tuesday kickoff. Also, we have the East Oakland Collective and both sides of the conversation, and a number of other community partners who are doing the Feed the Hood 20 food drive, which is happening this Saturday coming up, February the 12th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at 7800 MacArthur Boulevard, as we'll be going out in the community to help feed and give kits and clothing to our unhoused families across the Bay Area and Oakland as well. So we want to make sure that community folks show up. This is a great event, a way we can make great impact to our unhoused families who need that support. It'll be about 2,000 meals we're predicting we'll get out to community folks, as well as hygiene kits and a number of other things that our folks in the community need. So looking forward to that event. Please show up if you want to support. Go to the East Oakland Collective website and sign up if you'd like to be a part of this event as well. Also, we'll be having our both sides of the conversation in East Oakland Collective, both sides of the Bay Family Bowling Day, which is taking place February the 19th from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Sea Bowl. This is going to be a great event. This is free to all of the community folks. All you have to do is sign up and come to this event. We'll have some COVID testing happening as well out there. We'll be doing some rapid testing to make sure that the space is safe for folks. But this is for our young folks and families, just to get out. We know a lot of stuff is going on. Folks been in the house, school. We just want to have a time to convene with community and come together and have a great event. We have a number of great community sponsors who's going to be a part of this event. So I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors who have been supporting the Bayview Y, Mo Magic, Collective Impact, SF Black Wall Street, OMI. A lot of folks are coming to support, and we just appreciate all of the love and support. Brown Bombers, SF Rebels, number of folks supporting this event. So we just happy that you all are coming together to help make sure that our community has a day of fun and engagement, and our young folks get to just have some fun and not worry about nothing else. So we just happy. We'll see you all out there. Also, a new STEM hub is opening up for our children, the youth, at 1518 Mission Street. This is a Black-led, women-owned program. It's going to be opened up February 12th, which is Saturday. Please, we'll be getting information out to log in and sign up. It's always great to see STEM being introduced to our young Black and brown children, and we are excited to see this happen in our community. Also, it is time to talk reparations. The next meeting is going to be happening on Monday, February the 7th at 5:30 p.m. We need all of our community to start getting involved. As you all know, California is taking the lead. And right here in this very city of San Francisco, we are taking the lead to talk about reparations. We would like to hear public comments and folks to get in and talk about what this looks like, as we are trying to draw out the blueprint. And you all know what happens here on the West Coast moves east, south, and everywhere else. So we want to get it right. We want to hear from community, but please be a part of these meetings. The link is up. You can go to the San Francisco Human Rights Commission as well to join through that link as well. But we'll be sharing that information on our Facebook and through our social media handles as well. Also, SF Black Wall Street and African American Culture District, and both sides of the conversation, a number of communities we're going to have. Oh, I'm not a part of that one. Let me stop. That's not me. I'm the next one. They're going to be having the San Francisco Black Family Photo Day, and I spoke with Erica. This is happening at 101 Horn Street in San Francisco in D10 from at 1 p.m. They're trying to get all of the families to come together and take photos. That they're going to put this collage together, calendar, a number of things that they're doing to show the Black families that are in D10. This is a great, great event. So if you would like to come out with your family and be a part of this photo day, please bring your family out. It'll be happening at 1 p.m. and we'll be getting more of that information out on our social media handles as well this week. Also, the San Francisco African American Culture District, they kicking off the Humbre block parties again on February 27th at 3 p.m. They're going to be outside on 3rd and Gerald. They're still looking for vendors and folks who want to be a part of it. We are excited to be out there, a part of those block parties, and we'll be out there kicking that off as well. Also, next Saturday at 6 p.m., both sides of the conversation at San Francisco Arts and African American Arts and Cultural District, SF Black Wall Street, a number of folks. They're going to have a sip and paint, and we're going to have a love relationship conversation. We'll be streaming live, as well as SF Black Wall Street. They'll be streaming live. We're going to be talking about how do we heal Black love in our community? How do we get our families to engage with this conversation? We know there's a lot of trauma and a lot of triggers when we talk about relationships, but we're trying to find out a way to heal some of this Black love. Even though we know this is Valentine's weekend, this is going to be a great conversation. We'll be live at Jazz Studio over in the Fillmore. We'll be doing it live. You'll see us. You can ask questions or comments through our both sides of the conversation. We'll be live streaming as well as SF Black Wall Street. I know there's a number of folks that's going to be in on those conversations. So it'll be powerful. It'll be fire. You know, when Tiffany and Gwen is involved, you know, it'll be some fire stuff. So I'm looking forward to that conversation for Saturday. With that being said, that is our last announcement. I'm going to go ahead and close up my mouth. Next Sunday's conversation for February 20th. Our next one will be with the Black Panther Party. We have Dr. Saturo and the Black Panther Legacy Keepers. They're going to be coming on doing a Black History presentation. So we're excited about that. And then this Tuesday, we'll have another one of our hidden gem segments where we'll continue to highlight our Black and brown businesses, as well as our community leaders and organizations that do positive things to impact our community. And next Thursday, we'll have another Educational Thursday segment. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Dr. Mo and bring her up and get today's panelists up. And we'll go ahead and get started with today's 28 Join the Wellness Movement conversation as we continue the topic of Black health and wellness in our community. With that being said, Dr. Mo, welcome back for another segment, Dr. Mo.
Thank you so much, John Henry. So excited to be here. I'm just wanting to, pay homage to our ancestors. I got to see that our SF reparations group put together a land acknowledgement. And so similar to what the Ramaytush Ohlone have put together for themselves. And so I wanted to honor the Ramaytush Ohlone, which is the land that I'm on right now in San Francisco. I'm in the Fillmore area right now. And I wanted to read for everyone the ancestral acknowledgement that the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee put together that you just spoke about. And that I think the meeting is, let me check, is February 7th at 5:30. So that, I believe, is the next time for that. But I want to read the acknowledgement. So this is it. We honor the gifts, resilience, and sacrifices of our Black ancestors, particularly those who toiled the land and built the institutions that established this city's wealth and freedom, despite never being compensated nor fully realizing their own sovereignty. We acknowledge this exploitation of not only labor, but of our humanity. And through this process, are working to repair some of the harms done by public and private actors. Because of their work, we are here and will invest in the descendants of their legacy. So just want to say thank you to all of our ancestors and acknowledge, that work that the SF reparations movement is doing. So saying thanks to that. I wanted to let you know we have some really exciting guests today. So John Henry, thank you so much. You have been such a phenomenal light in this conversation about Black health and healing, about mental health. And so one of the things that we have today is we have two of our practitioners that we get to have with us, Shaka Jamal Redmond and Namaste Reddy. And then we also have Elika Aird.
Dr. Ball, before we bring them up, because I know you put some comments in the chat. I didn't get it. I got to talk to May to make sure we get it on our events thing. But you want to talk about the pop-up village and some of that stuff? And I definitely want to give a shout out to Sister Bavette over at SF Black Wall Street. You was putting it in while I was
talking. SF Black Wall Street, Bavette Brackens, happy birthday! So happy birthday, sis. We love you and thank you for everything that you tirelessly do for this this amazing city. So thank you. Also, we will be Rafiki and our partners with San Francisco UCSF and the SF Respect Initiative will be out at the Pregnancy Pop-Up Village right in front of 100% College Prep, right on the side of Jolie Gym on Mendel. And so we're popping up on Saturday. We'll be out there 12 to 5. So we'll have beautiful offerings, including some massages and pregnancy massages, offerings of all kinds of different things. We're going to have healthy food boxes, we're having a healthy lunch that we have as well with us, healthy and tasty, I should say. We've got Umoja Health doing vaccinations. I think Color's coming out to do testing as well. And so we have all that going on next Saturday. So we'll see everybody there for that, hopefully. And then after that, they'll head over to the Mo and do the jazz and the relationship conversation. So it'll be a full-on family day in San Francisco next weekend. So we hope that you get to both. We also do have our vaccinations Thursdays and Fridays every week at 1800 Oakdale. So come through with that. And if not there, we also, you can obviously do it at the Pregnancy Pop-Up Village or across the city. So let us know. We want to shout out to all of our amazing partners doing vaccination and doing the work around COVID to take care of our communities. We just had an anniversary this past weekend. We had 10,000 vaccinations that we hit at 1800 Oakdale. So I want to say big up to all of our partners for that. African American Faith-Based Coalition, San Francisco Department of Public Health, and Visit Health, and all the other great people that we have working with us. But we do need to keep pushing. Y'all need your vaxes, get your boosters, because it's something like 453% more likely to be hospitalized if you do not have your vaccination during this COVID outbreak and all of COVID for the last, we're going to be hitting our second year with COVID, literally that San Francisco shut down March 17th, I believe. So it's just been a crazy, crazy time, but we want to make sure that you keep testing. And so you can test Mondays and Thursdays in front of the Bayview Opera House on 3rd Street between 9 and 4. Mondays and Thursdays, Bayview Opera House 9 and 4. And on Kiska, that's 90 Kiska between 9 and 4 on Tuesdays. And then 155 Jennings on Fridays. And that's a drive-through or walk-up. Also be in Double Rock, Alice Griffith on the third Saturday. So that'll be next Saturday. After the Pregnancy Pop-Up Village, will be over in Double Rock to do vaccinations that day and testing. So appreciate y'all for that. So that's the health and wellness message, is to take care of your health. Also, I'm going to get into the rest of the stuff that we're offering in a bit, but I just wanted to give the testing and the shout out on that, and also on the Pregnancy Pop-Up Village. Even if you are a family or living in multi-generation, come out. We have diapers, we have different maternity clothes. We can get you signed up for different types of Medi-Cal or get you an OBGYN, or talk about having a Black doula. We have mental health resources. So we have all of those things out there. So don't be shy, come out and get resources for your family.
All right, you want to go ahead and introduce today's panelists, and I'll bring them up one at a time?
Yeah, so we have Shaka Jamal Redmond, aka Namaste Reddy, and Olu 8 Films. And so I'm gonna hit you up with this right now, Shaka Jamal, is that we are gonna see a video. And so I'm gonna show you the video that he actually filmed and produced for us right now. And then right after that, we'll bring up the amazing, phenomenal Elika Aird. So we'll go ahead right now with this video. So please enjoy. This is a love offering. Can't wait to do it again very soon. Our next Black Health and Healing Summit hopefully will be in June this year as well.
That's right.
Pandemic willing.
We keep us safe. We keep us safe. We keep us safe. That's right.
Who you are is infinite and shall not be defined by this temporary experience. But if you start to believe in your identity, that's who you are. If our children believe that's who they are, they will not call themselves futures. They will call themselves past and have-beens.
Every time we talk about the children today, the mandate is clap, make noise, the children. That's the only reason we're here, right? That is the only reason we're here as we go on this journey of faith today, are the children.
They don't carry all the hang-ups we have yet, and we don't want them to. You know, they don't have all the discouragement and the jaded thoughts that we might carry. They got all that hope and love and playfulness, and they remind us, don't take ourselves too seriously, and don't get too caught up. We gotta have fun.
I'm gonna keep pushing forth to do the right thing, to keep a smile on my face and let people know I love them. And I'm gonna be the one to have the door open for my own community and say, hey, it's help, and be the face that know that someone can change.
You can't be too black. You can't be not black enough. You are you. We came into this world as us, and we need to come into our spaces and own our spaces. And that's where we need to go as Black San Franciscans.
When I think of a time when I felt safe, an image and a feeling that always comes to me is my grandmother holding my hands. And she had this way, I see some ashes and some resonance with that, because she had this way of holding my hand that wasn't just a one-hand hold, it was a two-hand hold. So she would hold one of my little hands in one of her hands, and then with the other hand, she would just kind of gently tap my hand. And it was this amazing reminder to me that she had my back, right? And having someone's back isn't a simple thing, right? It isn't just a, oh, we're good, right? It's actually, no, I need to tell you about something sometimes. I need to let you know you weren't right when that happened, right? Because if we're holding people accountable, we're also keeping them in family. We're keeping them in community as much as possible, right? And so that is the vision of safety that you all are building as community healers, as public health practitioners, as folks who are doing the work to support one another.
If you cannot master yourself, and it is the hardest job you'll ever have, you will never be able to control conditions. And what's really interesting is self-mastery is scary, because you have to look at yourself and you have to look at your weaknesses, right? And you have to address them without judging yourself, right? So it's like, and the way I like to explain it to adults is when you see a young child trying to walk and they're getting up and falling down and getting up and falling down, do you say, you stupid idiot, get up, what's wrong with you? We never do that, right? What do you say to the child? Come on, you can do it, yes, come on. Then you see them jumping up and falling down. Why can't we do that with ourselves? Because we're just trying to figure it out. We're just older, right? But we're still trying to figure stuff out too, and we do this thing and we make a mistake. Why can't we say, oh, you know what, try it again next time?
Get reps in on this type of stuff. Because if you don't get the reps in, you don't build the strength. One of the things I always tell people is don't double down on your strengths, double down on your weaknesses. Yeah, that's a killer right there, right? Here's why it's a killer, is that most of us want comfort, right? There is no growth in comfort. I gotta say that to you again. I'm a trauma specialist. I gotta give it to you where you can get it, right? There is no growth in comfort. The growth is only in leaning into those things that you have successfully avoided doing. those feelings and those expressions and those vibes that keep turning in your damn gut, and it tells you you need to go do this, and you say, I don't like that, and then you don't do it. And then you wonder why you're stuck.
Ben Mays was the head of Morehouse College for decades. He was the mentor for Dr. King. He eulogized Dr. King. They had an agreement that whoever died first, the living would do their eulogy. Dr. Mays talked all the time about the need to dream, and it doesn't matter if you fail at the dream, but dream big and try hard. Mahalia Jackson sang just before King spoke, before he gave the I Have a Dream speech. It wasn't even the speech that he was supposed to give. But as he was speaking, he was losing the crowd, and I have somebody I work with that says Mahalia was the original hype man, because she was behind him going, tell him about the dream, Martin, tell him about the dream. So all these times when they had been sitting around, King had been talking about the I Have a Dream speech, but just talking about it with his friends. She knew that. She knew he had passion and energy about that. And so she encouraged him to share that, right? So Dr. Mays planted the seed around dreaming big. And when the time came, Mahalia was the one that said, tell him, share that dream. So if you don't have your dream yet outside of your body, you need to share it with somebody. So in those moments when you're wrestling with whether you should move forward on your dream, you need somebody to encourage you. You don't need to be around dream killers, right? You need some dream keepers and some folks who will help you further that dream.
Wow, that was
So
powerful.
to see it again.
Yeah.
Great job.
It's been a while since I seen that one, Dr. Mo.
Yes.
Was that the last healing conference before the quarantine?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And so I wanted to show it to us because I wanted to get inspired myself, but I also wanted folks to see this is village, right? This is what we do. And this is why it's so hard to be shut down right now, because it's hard to not be able to be connected to each other like this, all the time, and that good energy, getting our love and our hugs and feeling the vibrations of the live music and connecting. And so I wanted to first off, again, thank John Henry for having this conversation. And Shaka was actually our cinematographer and our videographer, whatever. Shaka, what do you call yourself? Producer, videographer, cinematographer?
Yeah, I just pointed the camera and, y'all already had the magic. I just had to point the camera at it.
So, so this was 2 days of footage actually that he put together to tell this story, and that was pretty amazing. John Henry, what did you see when you saw this?
Oh, I just seen a lot of wisdom and love, encouragement. Just to hear Director Davis talk about don't kill the dream. And I think it's one of the things. So much stuff is happening. During this COVID, a lot of people dreams and hopes. A lot of people feeling hopeless. So that motivation, inspiration, that just touched me. So thank you, man. That's a good shot, brother.
Hey, give thanks, and give thanks for the opportunity, Dr. Mo. Shout out to the pop-up village. All the work with Mama B, and just being able to capture that in film, because it's been like 2 years, and I even see some of the kids and how much they've grown in that time. And just seeing the kids at Meadows Livingstone and everything, right? And
I know that's where your kids go to school now.
Yeah, and little did I know that they would be going to school there too in the city. So shout out to Gail and all the teachers there at Meadows Livingstone. Just it really is that supportive network and all the healers that were coming in there, just lending their thoughts and their perspectives on healing. And how important, like that hope was there. We heard these opportunities of hope. And now I'm working on a film called I Am Hope, right? So just think about maybe, we never know how all of these things from the village maybe subconsciously influence us to do the things that we're doing. We heard talks about if there is something that you are uncomfortable in, diving
Double
into it,
down, baby.
double down
Double
in it,
down.
diving
Double
into
down
it.
on your weaknesses.
Yes, that's what's going to bring you the help that you need, the positive perspective that you need. And also, this quarantine, I think, has brought that, I know, to myself, and I'm assuming to a lot of people, where things either slowed down so much or the perspective shifted so much that you had to see some things that either you didn't see before or you were consciously avoiding, like, I'll wait a little bit later for that. And this is the great opportunity to find out who we really are as people. What are we willing to do to find our peace of mind at first and be able to share that with others? That peace. Oh, go ahead, brother.
I got to say this, and this is why I told Dr. Mo these segments is so important, because I think one of the highlighted parts that I really took from that too is having that gap bridge between our elders of the community and the young folks.
Yes.
Because I think this is what's missing in our community. We have to bridge this gap. We have to have an understanding, because we want our young folks to feel empowered. We want our elders to be respected. But right now, there's a big gap of that connection in our community right now. The young folks don't feel like the elders don't respect them and understand them, and the elders feel like the young folks are disrespectful, disconnected, and we got to heal there.
And then we're stuck in the middle. And then our generation is kind of stuck in the middle going, okay.
So I think that was powerful. I think that's powerful.
It is, John Henry, and I'm glad you saw that, because that's my intention with that event. It didn't used to be that way when I inherited the event from the previous executive director. But for me, I want it to be being a multi-generational space and village is incredibly important. So every aspect of Blackness, from preconception to end of life, is important, because that's the whole lifespan, right? And that's where all the health disparities come in, all of our wellness issues come up, and they can be impacted from what our parents eat, what our grandparents went through, because we're now finding out that the eggs from the moms come actually from the grandmothers and the great grandmothers. So our epigenetics is crucial, right? And all that trauma and what everybody goes through is so crucial. And so I wanted to really bring up Shaka, because not only is he an amazing cinematographer and holds this piece, he also has the other parts of himself that are so amazing, and all the teaching and you, Shaka, I'm hoping that you'll talk a little bit about your teaching, and also how you kind of came on this journey. And I'm going to invite our other presenter up today as well, so that they can both answer this question. But I'll just finish up by saying that not only is Shaka Jamal a colleague, but also a friend and also a spiritual brother. So we actually have a spiritual connection, and we received our some of our rituals together. And so because of that, a spirit and ancestors have kept bringing us together in these incredibly beautiful ways that we didn't know, whatever that was, 10, 15, 20, I don't know how long it was, Brother Shaka, ago, that we would still be in relationship and doing this spiritual work. But I call this spiritual and ancestral work, not just work on this plane. And so I wanted to thank Brother Shaka for that. And he's also an incredible yogi. And he will tell you about his yoga practice and all of that, and teaching, and the all of the video making. But I believe that it's all about love of community, that you are a cultural curator and healer, and that's your work, Brother Shaka. So I wanted to say thank you for that. And then I wanted to see if you wanted to say a few words, and I'll bring up Elika.
Yeah, give thanks, and giving thanks for the opportunity, and give thanks for the Rafiki Coalition for just being that anchor for us. And I just want to say that I've had a great time. I've learned a lot, even over these past couple of years, being able to come in and do work with the yoga, do work with Kele, with bringing in the drumming and the ancient ancestral songs, and being able to blend that together with the healthy food. And just want to say that I just want to be that one piece of the pie, that holistic pie that we all need for better health and wellness. you know, because no matter where we are on the economics spectrum, political, um, all of that, all of us want, I would believe, you know, a little bit of peace in our lives and better health so that we can be on this earth a little bit longer and to share and to commune. And you know, that's what we're here to do. We're here to learn and pass it on. And I hope I can get a chance to share a little more of that while we're here in this session.
I'm happy that you all are here because this is what I needed today. As
Okay.
I've been trying to get into yoga for a long time, and I was telling somebody it's so hard to go to yoga because most of the yoga classes is, you know, it's all ladies. You go in there, you the only guy that's just like, I gotta tap in with some yoga so I can feel comfortable with my people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, Brother Shaka, I hope you will talk about your work with men.
Yes.
Last year, was it 2 years ago?
Well, last year, actually, during this time, we had something for the entire community for Black History Month, where we did 28 days of yoga, and we had about 7 different yogis come in and teach every day. At least probably 3 or 4 of them were men, which is a little bit different than Black men at that, which is a little bit different than the usual stereotype where we think about who a yogi is and who actually practice yoga. And then the year before that, I think it was around the summer solstice, around the first week of June, we did 21 days of yoga for Black men, which I'm hoping we can do again this year around June. And I'm telling you,
let's do it. I'm partnering with you on it.
Yo, that'll be beautiful. That thing was lit. You know, I think we might have started at maybe 9 a.m. every morning. And the good thing about it is we know other people that were working, they may have had other schedules. But once you signed up, you were able to get the actual class because we recorded all of them on Zoom. And then we had them up, even now, up on a Google Drive, so that anytime throughout the day or through that 21 days or even afterwards, you can just go in and tap into one of those classes and hear some of the things that we talked about during that day. People are giving their own testimonies about what their struggle was for that day. And then you get the actual yoga practice, which is, from my perspective and how I was taught, is that the most important thing is we focus on the breath, right? The human body can live without food for about a month, right? We can go without water for 4 or 5 days. There's reports of people going about 7 days without water. But most of us can't go without air for more than a minute, right? So in that thought process is that our air is the most powerful thing, and our breath is the most powerful thing that grounds us here on this earth. That process of inhaling and exhaling, and that cycle is what gives us life. And then our relationship with that also dictates our relationship we have with our own life and our life with others, right? For example, when we get stressed, we get upset, right? You start having those feelings inside of anger. Usually we hold on to our breath and we stop breathing. You stop breathing, you have less air going and oxygen going to your brain. Less oxygen going to your brain means you're not thinking as clearly. And also, from what I'm taught, this anger that builds, it blinds us. It actually puts on blinders. So it limits our perspective on what our opportunities and options are in life. And we know what happens when we feel like I had no other choice. I had to do it, right? But that is about perspective, because someone else looking in but like, hey man, there were 3, 4, 5 other things you could have done before you went off. Right? So it all comes down to the breath. There are crazy poses you can do, but if you're not actual breathing, it's not actual yoga. So I just tell people, don't worry about it. If you're breathing, if you're alive, you're practicing yoga. You're just developing your relationship with that.
Well, y'all don't forget about me. I want to be a part of that because, again, I am committed to health and fitness in our community, and I want to get those stigmas that you're talking about with Black male to do yoga and different things of that nature. Because sometimes we get, oh, this is not a men thing, or this is not what Black males do. But there's so many benefits of it, and I'm trying to get engaged in it as I'm doing my own mental health and health work. But yeah, I keep hearing so many phenomenal things of yoga and just haven't had the right class that I feel comfortable around all these folks to do it.
Mm.
I'd rather do it with my people. So y'all let me know.
We
I'll
got
be there.
you.
I'll bring my
We
mat out.
got you.
Yeah.
We got you. So I don't want to leave Sister Elika out
Yes,
any
yes.
longer in the conversation because she has so much to share. So I want to invite Sister Elika Aird up.
There she is.
Sister, beautiful Sister Elika Aird. So Elika has been working with Rafiki now for, Elika, I want to say 4 years. Is that right? 5 years?
About that 4 or 5. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and has always just shown up. And I fell in love with the way that she did yoga, because she made yoga accessible for folks sitting in a chair, folks standing up, folks on a mat, folks with hips, folks with butts, folks with a cane, all kind of folks. And she also then brought and also does folks with pregnant people, yoga with pregnant people, and so I would love you to talk about that, Elika. But I also want to say she also then I asked for a restorative yoga class, and then she started to do that for us as well. And so these are my two, actually, by the way, not to give shade on anybody else, but these are my two favorite yogis right here.
Oh, thanks.
So I feel comfortable doing yoga with both of these people, and that's a big issue for me. And I want to explain why. And just in a minute, when we get ready to talk about the types of yoga, I'll explain why yoga was triggering for me for a while. But I wanted to say, Elika, you are here, and she moved away during the pandemic, but even during the pandemic she came, but she's still here with us. And even during the pandemic, she came out at Sam Jordan Way and did pop-up yoga with us on the street corner. And we had drumming and massage and Elika, and and it's just like, we've been trying all kind of ways to work on working with and for the community. So I just want to bring up Sister Elika to have you all know her. She is a queen. Welcome, Queen Elika.
Thank you, Dr. Mo. Queen as well. Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here today. And wow, this is amazing. That video piece we saw, so inspiring. And yeah, I moved away, but a girlfriend of mine was like, I love how you left, but you're still here, and I'm still involved, with Rafiki periodically. And I just started working with Alameda County, doing a peer support group for young women of color. And my work has shifted a little bit, but I'm just so grateful. As Dr. Mo said, my passion is really uplifting women, and it's been mostly pre and postnatal. And that's why I'm so excited about this pregnancy pop-up in the city. I wish I could be there. That sounds amazing.
Me too.
So amazing. Because I feel a little disconnected from pregnant folks since I moved to North Carolina. I'm connecting with doulas. I don't do birth work right now, but I'm getting back into the community. And I'm teaching pre and postnatal online, and we took a little break. But that is really my passion, and I know Black maternal health is such an issue, and in North Carolina the rates here are just horrible. And there are some programs that are put in place, but listening to some of the birth workers, they're like, you can't just get a Black doula and think everything's going to be okay. You have to really you have to be educated. You have to advocate for yourself. And I'm so glad y'all are focusing on the ancestral work, because with all that's going on in the world, with all the political divisiveness, all of this stuff, I feel like this is like it's crucial to wake up and be in whatever tradition you are, prayer, meditation. You need to be connected before you go out into the world. You need to have like your spiritual shield, with you, your ancestors walking behind you at all times. So you're focused, you're clear, your third eye is open, you have wisdom about whatever work you're doing or however you're involved in the community. Because, it can be really, intense, and especially with mental health challenges, which is something else, I'm really bringing into my work with pregnant folks, with seniors, everyone. It's really important. I'm so glad that Black men are really getting to be addressed more and take away the stigma, of talking about mental health challenges. The group we're working with in Alameda County is part of Health and Human Resources Department, and they have a whole mental health program working with Black men in high schools, and it's just really inspiring to me and encouraging. And since you mentioned the restorative yoga class, I just want to give a little shout out for this book that is called Restorative Yoga for Ethnic and Race-Based Stress and Trauma. Really amazing book. It is thin and it's
Thank you for the reminder.
Do you have that?
I know about that. I met her when she came to Oakland.
Yes.
Can you put that in the private chat so we could get that out to guests if they want to buy it? Can you put the name from later on through the show? Okay.
Yep. And if anybody shouts out to Rafiki, I'll get the first 2 shout outs a copy. So Elika's going to put it up and we're going to put it up. So if you want it, please shout us out. We got 2 copies coming from Rafiki. Yeah, John Henry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, well, if you're talking about the community in the chat, so if you, Dr. Mo said community that's in our YouTube watching, if you put a shout out to Rafiki and the Coalition, she'll get you some books. So go ahead and put that information out there, and then we'll get the book information out for community to go support and pick up this book.
Yep, thank you. And I wanted to invite Elika. I didn't want to cut you off. Were you complete for now? Okay. That's the therapist in me, right? I'm like, are you complete?
Yes.
Are you finished? Are you good? But then the community conversation is like, it's got to be hot and popping, and we got lots to say. But I wanted to, so the type of yoga that you practice, if you don't mind sharing, and then I'll invite Brother Shaka to share as well. And also, then if you want to weave in as part 2 of the question, how did you really come about, getting into it? Yoga, wellness, health and healing.
Sure. So you want to know the type of yoga I teach or I practice primarily?
Yeah. And then how did you get into it? All of it. Like, how'd you get there?
Okay. Because I teach, various styles, like the restorative yoga came later. And it happened because I was a personal trainer and I hurt my back. And I just felt lost. I felt like my body was just rebelling against me. And, it was really a blessing in disguise, that I gave up the personal training, crazy spinning classes, and really focused on this external body. And then I went into yoga and got humbled, just by, doing these little movements and just finding my breath and finding presence, in just the simplest poses, and just so much opened up to me, where, it was a journey. It was a lot. So I was, in corporate, working at Turner Broadcasting in Atlanta. And because I realized, this was not the work for me, I started teaching yoga just in the gym, and then went on to teaching full time. And I became a doula first, and then actually someone asked me to teach prenatal yoga, and I was so nervous about that, I started taking a doula training. So once I got into doula work, then I started teaching pre and postnatal yoga more. And that just evolved, that just became a passion of mine. And so the restorative yoga came out of that, because working with pregnant mamas, they, some of them want to be hardcore. They want to run, they want to lift weights and do all that. But I'm like, no, you need to slow down. You need to be still. So I started with vinyasa yoga. That was my primary style, and then went into restorative. Now I teach yoga nidra also. And as I'm getting older and, I'm really exploring the full spectrum, right? Working with young girls, working pre and postnatal, and now getting into perimenopause, because I'm getting closer to that place. And it's exciting to just really inspire women and talk about reproductive health, and also encourage folks to not give up and think like the journey's over, and like, you can not be sexy. You don't have to lose the groove. You can, the groove can stay there. It's not like Stella trying to get her groove back. It's like you can keep it. And so, yes, so I started teaching yoga nidra and more meditation, because as I was saying, I stopped doing so much vinyasa because I don't want to do all that. I don't want to be teaching people to do handstands and arm balances and all this. I want to teach you to slow down. And I just want to say that one of the most amazing points out of this book, it's by Dr. Gail Parker, is how she talks about so many Black folks are resistant to this kind of practice of slowing down, being still, because it brings up so much trauma, right? For some of us, like maybe you were punished, you know, you were told to stay still. It brings up, you know, even interactions with the police, you know, things like that. So telling somebody to, you know, be still, find your breath, and, you know, try to find joy in that, it's not always easy. So she gives you these cues about delighting in stillness, and, you know, just trying it and seeing if you can delight in some stillness, you know, even while you're eating, just slowing down, walking slower, you know. And so it's just really powerful. And I'm a person that likes to move fast and talk fast. So I'm always teaching myself, you know. I mean, I'm constantly, you know, they say you teach what you need to learn. And truly, I'm teaching this stuff because I still need to slow down, rest more, you know, do more restorative yoga myself. But I love it. And it was so amazing to see you take care of yourself, Dr. Mo, and all of these people with all their different abilities, whether they had, one woman had a hip issue, she was in a car accident, and just see her do little bits, and she'd be so grateful for her body, so grateful. Oh, I can move more, I can do a little bit, I feel ease here, you know. And let me tell you, John, we had some brothers in there that were very regular. It was so amazing to see them come.
We did at least four or five. We had some bus drivers, because apparently it's so hard on your body, the bus driving, that you can literally you know, rip out your knees and your shoulders really quickly, but driving those munis. And of course it's Black and brown security, good jobs, right? But at the same time you're wrecking your body. So yeah, we did. It was beautiful. And just you know, I think, Elika, I'm trying to hear what you're saying. I'm trying to hear it, because I preach it, right? I preach it, you know, and I got my little, you know, my candles, my ambiance, everything is chill. But it's so hard when you're so I'm like, people are at me constantly 24/7. So it's hard for me to kind of just woosah. And so and when I, you know, coming to your class was really a gift, and having my staff come to the class was really a gift. So I'm gonna keep working on it to get us all kind of doing that, because I know that somebody told me that I'm always telling my staff, you need to rest, you know, take care of yourselves, this and that. But at the same time, they're watching me, and I'm not doing it. So if I'm not doing it, I'm not teaching. And it's just like with parenthood, if you're not doing it, your children aren't doing it, even if you tell them to do it, right? Because they're looking at you like, well, you said rest, but you working all the time, even on your vacation, you working. So that must be what you're supposed to do, right? So Elika, I wanted to invite Shaka to this part of the conversation too, Shaka, because this is this key trauma piece, right? That's your cue in terms of the type of yoga you practice.
Yeah, so I was trained in Raja Yoga, and Raja Yoga, which is more of a meditative based yoga, but also with a trauma informed lens, in a way that we were taught, so that when you teach, you don't actually poke at people's traumas, which can happen at times as anyone who is leading. You know, sometimes you can say things or do things that trigger people. And this particular training just gave us more of a perspective about how do you approach leading a yoga class in a group of people without aggravating people's traumas too much, especially because this type of work can activate some things in people's minds and bodies that maybe they have blocked out for their own particular safety and peace of mind. And sometimes things are so traumatic that the mind will just shut down and place it in other parts of your body. And part of the practice is sometimes that some of those things have to be released in order for us to gain proper health. Because if they're not released, they turn into things like certain mental health conditions, depression, anxiety, even things like cancer and things like that. And most of that is about stagnant energy, right? You don't want to be still for too long in certain things. That's what sometimes the bus drivers, they are in one particular position for a long period of time, day after day after day. So I can also imagine that many are having back problems, hip problems. And when you have some lower back and hip problems, that also is connected to your knees and everything, because that particular area of your body, it stretches out all throughout. And what you think might be a problem with your knee actually started maybe in your psoas, the Psoas muscle that's in within your body that a lot of people don't know about, but it's a place where a lot of trauma is held, but also it links our upper body to our lower body. So when we move, that's the muscle that's moving, and that's triggering all the other muscles to move. And with that practice, I was trained by Naroga Institute. And with that, they said, okay, we'll give you 100 hours, but in the next 100 hours, you got to go and lead others in yoga for free. So I did that work with EOYDC, with Miss Regina Jackson, who just actually is passing the torch, who's retiring from EOYDC. Is just going to become an advisor. But we all know she's like one of our queens of Oakland. Also did it at 150th Juvenile Hall of Alameda County, Roses in Concrete, the charter school in Oakland. And those just brought opportunity for me to realize that whatever I've been taught, I have to pass it on to others. This isn't the type of thing that you can just hold on for yourself. And that's, I think, the depth of it is that anyone who comes in, interacts with it, and sees the benefit of their own lives, it just compels you to want to share it with others. And one particular style with Raja is that sometimes you go into yoga classes and they might do the same thing every day, like Bikram yoga or something like that, where there's a set 21 type of poses that you might do every time. Raja yoga is a little bit more free flowing, and it's a lot of it is tied to the meditation and the breath. So sometimes you can only do 3 or 4 poses, but those 3 or 4 might be a foundation to other things that you need in your life. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty deep. So for me, that's new. What do you recommend somebody that's new, that's just, always on the go, need to sit down, and always anxious? What would you recommend for a brother like me? Because I be always going, and I'm anxious sometimes. So what would you recommend for me for a newbie?
Well, I'm gonna let you know, this is what works for me. I'm the type of person, I have to get it done first thing in the morning, because that sets the tone for my day. But what I'm also learning is that it's also has some other benefits. So with yoga and with stretching, the toughest time to do it is first thing in the morning, because you have been still for 4 to 6 to 8 hours and your muscles just aren't used to moving. But by you working them out at that time, you get the benefit throughout the whole day, and it helps you become more flexible. There are certain type of meditations and breath exercises, like the bhakti breath or fire breath, which brings in serotonin to your body and actually helps digestion. And you do that before you put anything into your system, right? So I would say first thing in the morning to actually do that. And also, if you only have a short amount of time, even if you stop and take 1 minute to do a stretch in your chair, you're leaning back, and just sit still and breathe and focus on your breath just for 1 minute, and it pops up in your head. If you do that a few times a day, that also helps. So sometimes we think we got to have a whole hour, 90 minutes just to do yoga. But sometimes it's just 60 seconds to just say, no matter what's going on around me, I'm going to check in with me and make sure I'm good. If there's something else that I need, I might take another minute, or I space it in somewhere else throughout that day. And one thing I'm learning also from this quarantine of having to work so much from home from my computer, I got to get up and move probably about every 30, 45 minutes, or I'll mess around. I'll be in front of the computer for 4 or 5 hours straight. My eyes will be straining. Your neck goes forward. A lot of people are coming in with problems, with neck problems, because you're looking at the screen or you're leaning back and arching your back too much. So just the ability just to get up and move the body, that helps. So to answer your question, just a little bit at a time, and to start first thing in the morning. And there's even yoga poses you can do in bed before you even get out of bed. Right?
Man, that's dope. And I seen Dr. Bo said, but I want to see it too. Can you show us some of those techniques, those breathing techniques for the community that's out there watching right now? I'll highlight you and put you on the screen.
Okay.
Just give them those proper techniques.
Okay, so what we'll do now, we'll do something called rhythmic belly breathing. So what I'll do, I'll first invite you just to bring your left hand to your heart, right over your chest, right hand right over your stomach and belly button. If you're comfortable, closing your eyes and just breathe normally. And just see if you can just begin noticing first the sounds around you. Maybe it's the hum of your computer, cars passing outside, birds chirping, other people making noise in the house. But just notice them. And as you notice them, you hear them, accept it, and move on and continue with your next breath. And with your hands on your heart and right over your stomach and belly button, see if you can just notice the rise and fall of your breath as you inhale and exhale. Giving thanks for all the inner workings of your body, for your heart that just continuously beats, bringing in all the blood and oxygen to all parts in the cells of your body that bring you life. And then as you continue to breathe, see if you can just begin focusing just in through your nose and out through your nose. Closing your mouth. And as you breathe continuously in and out through your nose, see if when you inhale through your nose, you can expand your stomach like a balloon, like you're filling it up with air. So your stomach and belly button will move out as you inhale. And as you exhale and breathe out through your nose, see if you can draw in your stomach and belly button and squeeze all the air out, as if you're letting all the air out the balloon. Inhaling in through your nose, expanding the stomach. Exhaling, letting out all the air. Inhaling and exhaling. And see if you can inhale to 3 seconds, expanding the stomach, 2, 3, and exhaling to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling to 3, expanding the stomach, 1, 2, 3. Exhaling to 6, letting all the air out, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. For about 4 or 5 more times, see if you can breathe in and out on your own. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. And as you inhale, let that air continuously flow in through your nose for the entire 3 seconds, and for the entire 6 seconds, exhaling out. Make sure the air is flowing continuously for the whole entire exhale. Seeing what you have to do to move your body, your esophagus, your lungs, so that it continuously flows that whole time. Make any adjustments that you need. If you want even more of a challenge, inhale to 4 and exhale to 8, but the air must continuously flow throughout. This rhythmic belly breathing is good for anxiety, restlessness, reduction of stress, and even if you're having trouble sleeping at night. Either in to 3, out to 6, or in to 4, out to 8. Whenever you get to your fourth or fifth breath, you're comfortable opening up your eyes, releasing your hands.
Oh,
You're on mute.
that was good there, brother. I felt my whole body just slow down there. That was powerful.
Woohoo! You did it, John Henry.
Thanks. And that's the foundation from what I was taught for all of yoga, right? Being able to just sit still and breathe. Because many of the poses that were brought about were created because people wanted to sit still and meditate, right? So for those who believe in God or not, what is said is that prayer is speaking to God or the universe or the goddess, higher power. But when you meditate, is when you listen. So hopefully you were able to notice that maybe things got a little bit more quiet at that particular time. Maybe you were able to hear things you normally wouldn't hear. And that's a root of the practice, to be able to hear things you normally don't hear, see things you normally don't see, feel things you normally don't feel, so that you can have a greater perspective of life, and be able to interact with life accordingly.
So beautiful. You're getting feedback from the community that was beautiful, and they want to do that mid-morning and midday. So thank you. I wonder, yes, totally amazing. Wonder, Miss Elika, Queen Elika, if you have a favorite way to do connection to breath or to ourselves. What is your way?
Yes, I definitely have a breathing exercise I want to do. And I just wanted to also say something to what Shaka Jamal was talking about, just that 1 minute or 5 minutes, getting up from your computer regularly. And, some days I wish I would come right onto my mat first thing in the morning like Brother Jamal, but I actually go into the kitchen and get my tea or whatever. And so I do hip circles, just moving the hips around. Yes, maybe have some music going and releasing some of that tension in the lower back. And then you could do just like pelvic rocking your pelvis back and forth, just little things like that, as and those could be something you do as you take breaks from your computer. And so this breathing is perfect. It kind of goes along with what Shaka Jamal just taught. It's also good for releasing or relieving anxiety, insomnia, and it's also said to help mental fatigue. And I really like this. It's called the humming bees breath. And so I work with families and kids, and so sometimes I'm working with moms with toddlers, and so we do this with the toddlers, and it's good to actually calm babies. So I just love this breath. And if you know about African spirituality and the goddess Oshun, she represents abundance and prosperity and sweetness. And some days we feel just we feel so much heaviness and bitterness and the anger, someone mentioned, and we're just over identifying with that. And I say, just shift that for 3 breaths and see how you feel. So I would love to do this humming bees breath with you. The traditional way is to put your fingers in your ears, but let's just do it just, very basic. You're going to inhale through your nose. And then you're going to exhale like you're humming, but try to lengthen your breath like you just did for that 8 count breath or that 6 count breath out. You're just going to try to lengthen this with a humming sound. So it sounds like this. Okay, so you can focus right here at the 3rd eye called Agnya Chakra, the 6th chakra that connects you to your they say your psychic energy, and you're actually helping to command yourself, right? So when you feel like other people are dictating what you do and how you react, this is a way to tune into your own inner teacher. And so let's just do 4 of these breaths. You're going to focus here and just inhale through your nose and exhale with a humming sound. without any strain. Just lengthen it as much as you can. Again, inhale slowly through the nose and hum it out. Feel your belly pull in on that exhale. Again, inhale through your nose. Focus between the eyebrows. And one more time, inhale, expand the belly. Exhale, hum it out. And just take a moment and notice where you feel the sensation. Might be around your throat, your jaw, around your heart. And just take a moment and feel like you are cultivating a little more abundance, sweetness for your day, maybe for your family. And you can just do that whenever you need a little, boost for your vitality, your energy, or just reducing anxiety.
Now, that was really good. I felt that in my fingertips. That was pretty cool.
Hey, I like it.
So with the babies, do you have the babies do it too, or you just do that and they catch on to the breathing?
No,
They catch on to it.
No, they're just feeling the vibration, But I guess, some of the toddlers, when we do have toddlers, they will start humming. Yeah, they can catch on to that for sure. But I'm mostly working with small babies and families. So I teach this to, mothers and to partners, because sometimes their energy is so frazzled, they're not sleeping, right? Their mind is just on overload, learning new things. So this is a way to just kind of bring yourself into a, greater sense of ease, help to balance your nervous system. And then all of a sudden the babies are like, oh, okay, you chilling out. Let me chill out a little bit too. So yeah, I like this better than people. I just want to say people do this shh. That's been taught a lot. And sometimes people are trying to calm the baby and they're so anxious and they're going shh, 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 and they're actually getting lightheaded, and they're just panicking. Why isn't the baby calming? Because your energy is so frazzled and ungrounded. So this helps you to really breathe and do just maybe 4 or 5. I mean, it doesn't work all the time, but I've seen it work a lot of times because it's calming everybody's energy a little bit.
Well, what's so nice, what was interesting is with the breath that Shaka taught, is it box breath or what was it, fire breath?
That no, that one was rhythmic belly breathing.
Rhythmic belly breathing. Is that at first I couldn't even get the breath into my gut, or my solar, whatever the bottom. I couldn't get there until almost to the end. And so I'm like, oh, I really am stuck in breathing from my chest. So it took me a lot to get my breath down. And so I definitely recognized I was concentrating on that. And with the bee one, is that what you call it? Bee buzz? What is it?
Humming bees breaths. Yes.
Humming bees breath. I felt more warm in my heart and in my head. It kind of woke up top. And so it was kind of working two different axes, whatever you want to call it, with those two together. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it really is two different energy centers, because this is where that humming bees is kind of focused, but John had it going out to his fingertips. That's amazing.
Hey.
But Shaka was more accessing like the root chakra, the second chakra more down here. So it really was like polar opposites. And I just want to say, if it's challenging to breathe upright, because you're working a muscle, the diaphragm is a muscle. And if we're holding tension and stress, it's tough to practice breathing like that for new people, or just people, like I said, that don't work that diaphragm regularly. So lay down, maybe with your knees bent. And when it feels challenging, Dr. Mo, try it just laying down for a few rounds. And then maybe sitting up will feel easier.
That's right.
Beautiful. Thank you, Shaka. You want
I
to
have
add?
to use these techniques on my 5-year-old granddaughter when I'm trying to put her to sleep because she has so much energy.
Hey, and kids love yoga. Kids are natural yogis
Yeah.
because you can see their flexibility, you can see their energy. And I haven't met a kid that age yet that doesn't like yoga. For real. And they love the challenge
And
and some of the poses, and they all would love just just doing like that for a little while.
Truly. Yes.
it's true. And we used to do it with my niece and with my nephew when they were little, and then it kind of got away. But they both go back to it now in their teens and now 20s. They go back to the practice now themselves. They got their own mat and they'll put out the mat and stretch and strengthen and do some yoga poses and some breathing. So, you never know those things that you're instilling, John Henry, for your beautiful grandbaby. But Shaka, I was gonna ask you to talk about this from the perspective of your men's group, because what was so striking to me when you were having men's do their yoga is that they also had their babies and their families and their
Oh
partners
yeah.
doing it too.
Yes. Some of them brought their whole families on. Some of them brought other brothers on with them. Some of them just had a group of people. It's like, hey, we want to practice. So yeah, it was definitely something, a beautiful thing that happened, that just people were able to grow and grow and grow. And I think the last session on the 21st day, that thing might have been like 3.5 hours, because brothers were just talking and talking and talk. And I think, and it was a powerful day because I think the last day was on Father's Day. So some people brought on their fathers, and I think it was the summer solstice, all landed on the same day and on that last day on the 21st. So it was a lot of energy, definitely. And and some of the brothers at that time, we were at the beginning of the quarantine. A lot of people were still in those first few months, hadn't seen family members, hadn't been to work. And it was just, I think that was just the ability for all of us to be able to connect, just like we are now in different parts of the country, be able to connect in a way that had been taken away from us when the quarantine happened. So yeah, it was a powerful connection.
Thank you. And Elika, do you have the moms or the pregnant folks, do they bring their partners, and do the babies then come back later, the toddlers, do you do a toddler class also?
It's been a little bit challenging to bring folks back. Just in the pandemic, it's, just people get a little disconnected. But the thing that I love is, so I have moms come back and share their birth stories. And so they're not actually coming to do yoga. They're coming to share their birth stories, introduce their child. And then I teach with an organization in Oakland called Bananas. And so they have all kind of free family resources. They have birth education classes. They have parent groups. Everything's online now. So I teach postnatal, a mom and baby class, or parent baby yoga online. And sometimes the moms will come back with their toddlers or babies. But yeah, when we were in Oakland and everybody used to come together, you definitely would see more of the moms come back for postnatal. It's just, I haven't had a consistent weekly class just for parent baby yoga. So they come back, they're welcomed in my prenatal class, they're welcome, but they just don't always come except to share their birth stories.
If you would like to put those resources in the chat, we'll get it out to the community. That's one of the things that we're trying to do here at Both Sides of the Conversations, make sure that these community resources get out to our community. Too many times our community folks are saying services are not there, people are not doing, and it's just really a lack of information getting to the community. So we're trying to do our part. So if there's any resources, Brother Shaka, that you guys would like people to go to websites or community organization that does this type of work, we just want to get that information out to the community so that they know how to connect and utilize those services.
Definitely.
Thank you. And Yoga Jubilee is listed there, and that's who I do teach the pre and postnatal class, and we'll also offer birth preparation classes. Probably the birth prep will come in April, and then our next class will start weekly at the end of February. So you can go to the website, and they're doing a Black History Month challenge right now, and promoting a lot of different luminaries, and relating that to the yamas and the niyamas,
Yes.
which is like the roots of yoga. It's like the 10 commandments of yoga. So if you want to go on Yoga Jubilee's website, you can learn more about that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. I wanted to also say that too is, the thing about this is the deep connection between, in a Western culture, what we call mental health. But when we're in our whole person self in the village and in a African and in a Black spiritual context, all of us is represented, right? So we're not, John Henry, just John Henry. John Henry is everything that John Henry is: father, grandfather, son, uncle, all of these other pieces, but also a spiritual child of God or creator, or a child of the ancestors, and a worker and a this and a that and a that, and a broadcaster and a executive director and all that. You're not separate, right? And so when one of the biggest pieces of work that we're doing at Rafiki is to remind us that we're not separate. We are both spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental beings with a particular cultural and lived experience. And that we also are able to access these things for our healing. And so even for myself, recently, I've been not maybe doing as much as I should be doing for myself. And so in my dreams are telling me, oh, you know what to do. It's the spiritual piece that needs to happen, the singing that needs to happen, the rituals that need to happen, the yoga that needs to happen, the dancing that needs to happen, because these are the ways that we did everything to keep us healthy. It's like you're saying, the hip rolls. And I, if you follow Elika on Instagram, this blissful body, I think, right? You get to see her hip rolling and doing all kinds of fun stuff in the kitchen. So I'm like, she must be a good cook too.
I do. I actually find I'm doing more dancing these days and cooking than like formal yoga, and actually just, more meditation and mindfulness than the physical practice. But yeah, dancing saves me every time. And
yes.
Yeah, yes. I love that title of Alice Walker's book, where it's where she's talking. What is it? Oh my God, how am I forgetting the name of it? About the ancestors.
Which one?
The one about dancing, where she says, "Gosh, what is the name of that
You'll
book?"
think of it. You'll think of it. Don't worry, you
How
got
can
it.
I not remember? I used to share it all the time.
While you remember that, I wanted to kind of bring us into like this, what we're doing at Rafiki is this 28 days of wellness, right? So the idea is that you journal, you dance, you move, you take a nature walk, you do anything that you can to connect yourself to those different parts of ourselves that have gotten chipped off. And all of that is deeply connected with our mental health. And as we're seeing, unfortunately, in the media, with these just horrific things happening, unfortunately, Amir Locke being murdered, executed in his living room. We've also seen, unfortunately, the Miss USA or Miss America Chisley, beautiful, amazing sister. You wouldn't have thought anything. Like, I'm like, as I was going to sleep last night, I was like, what happened there? Like, what happened? That had to have been preventable somehow, right? Is like this depression and the suicidality that we're not catching. We're not catching it. And so we got to do some things for ourselves and for our family to do better. And, Regina King's son, committing suicide, Michael K. Williams overdoses, these are these pieces of mental health, right? And wellness, that something's not happening. So I wanted to show this video that Shaka also shot for us at Rafiki, because it's our community in San Francisco talking about mental health. And then when we come back, Elika and Shaka and John Henry, I would love to hear, your thoughts about mental health. I know we're almost getting to the end of our time, but I just wanted to kind of, connect mental health and our physical health, if you don't mind.
And Dr. Mo, we could go over a little bit. I know we got off to a little bit of a late start,
Okay.
so this is very important to me. You know how I feel about the mental health aspect, so I want our community to get it. So whatever time you all have, I want to be respectful of your time as well. But I want to make sure our community hears about this mental health.
Thank you. So, Shaka, can you kind of give a little bit of a intro to the
Yes. So this piece we're going to see are a string of interviews from mental health practitioners, support workers, people within the San Francisco Bay Area who are working to lessen the stigma about mental health in the Black community. Some of them work directly with people who have mental health challenges and their perspectives of what is causing the stigma, what are the results of the stigma, and what we need to do to get not just past the stigma, but to address it and be able to approach it in a different light. So this is a piece that we were able to do with Rafiki, and I think it might have been 2019 also, right before the quarantine.
Yeah, go ahead and share, brother. And when I see it up, I'll pull it up. Just make sure you share the audio like you did the last time. I'll get it up for you.
Okay, perfect.
Well, I just want to say give thanks to the ancestors first. Honor the ancestors. Pay homage to the ancestors. My mother, Jimmer Cooks. My brother, LeVar Watkins. Ashe.
If somebody goes into the hospital because maybe they broke their arm or their blood pressure was up and they was in danger, and they get well, they get flowers, they get cards. Where if somebody goes into the hospital because they had a nervous breakdown, nothing comes. No cards, no nothing, no casseroles. And I find that it's because many people don't know what to say or how to approach the family or the person that's hurting, that's ill.
I think anytime where there's a lack of education, we're going to be impacted. Because I think as an adult, I'm realizing more and more people, not only in my family, but in my community, is really dysfunctional. And I'm trying to figure out, I must be kind of dysfunctional too, because I didn't realize this growing up, that is so many of us that's really dysfunctional that's walking around.
When supporting someone with mental illness, you show empathy, you show compassion, you give love.
We dealing with problems the same way we was taught to deal with them, like we get to a point where something that happened and we just kind of like just deal with it and don't think of the real effects it have on us. Because a lot of times we don't even know that we have a problem. We might just think that somebody might just be tripping. Like when we think people tripping, it's like it could be a deeper issue. It could be like a mental illness that they actually might have.
Okay, my utopia is openly talking about what's going on within our bodies, right? Resma talks about trauma and how it pretty much just begins within the body, and we're trying to deal with it from the outside going in when we just have to deal with it from the inside moving out. And so that requires movement, massaging out the kinks of trauma and having mental issues, anxiety disorders, and using it through movement. You're massaging it out through movement, dance, yoga, running.
As far as my mental health, I can't answer for other people's mental health, but when you're young, the younger you are, the less you really realize that something's wrong with you. It could be something that just showed up because of stress. And most of the time you have to get somebody else to help you correct it.
I think it needs to be pushed to the forefront
especially into the Black neighborhoods, especially into these lower income neighborhoods, because it's not spoke upon. It's not, nobody brings it up. Nobody even brings it. We always ask, what's wrong with that guy? Or what's wrong with that girl? We don't ask, what happened to that young man? What happened to the young lady? We always think what's wrong, and we just looking from the outside, but inside kids are hurting, going through a lot of trauma, and we're not bringing it to the forefront. It's pushed to the back. Start bringing some of that mental health to the forefront so we can get on it early. You don't have to wait till you're in your late 30s, early 40s to start seeking that help. You can start seeking and get into it now, getting it early, man, because I believe these kids are definitely traumatized. They going through it. Seeing their parents with the alcoholism, the drugs, these are their direct family members going through it. It affects us all. It affects us all, and it's a major problem. It's a major problem.
We need help. We need each other, and we need somebody to talk to at certain times, because with that split second, you can actually do some dangerous things by you actually being just in a messed up mental state at that time. So by you talking to somebody, or by you reaching out and seeing if this service or just whatever, school, it could be a big brother or cousin, whatever. But I'm a big believer of it now, but at first I wasn't, because I grew up in a certain type of mindset, as a brother, you stay strong, don't tell nobody, this and that. But as I got older, only the strong survive, and it's all mental.
Do not be ashamed of your story. It will inspire others.
It's okay to say, I'm not okay.
Come healing, come into my bones. Come healing, make this body your home. Come healing, come into my bones. Come healing.
Well, that was another good
John Henry,
piece.
have you seen that before?
That was my first time. I see some familiar faces too. I was like, okay.
I know, all our folks. We got Gwen and Jerry. Yeah, so Lynn. Yeah, so many folks. So Elika and Shaka, as you're thinking about this work around mental health and wellness and what you were hearing there, how does that what advice or what would you like to add?
Well, from your intro and watching it, it makes me think about the late great Credo Mutwa, who was the great healer from South Africa. And one of his perspectives, and the perspectives also from African-centered healing, is that, the brother was like, people ask, what's wrong with that person, instead of saying what happened. But that also links to what he says, is that when a patient or someone first walks in, or they're greeting someone, they say, how are we? Not how are you, how are we? Because there's a interconnection between us, right? It's that Ubuntu, I am because we are. A person is a person because of other people. And I think that in our society, especially this Western urbanized society, everything is fragmented in our interactions, our connection to our food source, our water source, air being polluted, everything's fragmented. So I think a part of our mental, physical, spiritual state becomes fragmented also. And it becomes difficult for us to actually connect and figure out what is real, what is real. Like, are these things going on in my mind really the truth? And some things that we take on as truth may not necessarily be the truth, or it could be just a temporary truth that we hold on to for years and years. So I think the key thing is, when it comes to this type of work, is not seeing others as different than ourselves, because we may have been in that particular state at one particular time in our life, and that it's okay. And that some of these things, like in the very beginning, the lady was like, yeah, you fall and break your legs, people come with flowers, stuff like that, go to the hospital. But if you have a mental health break, people just like, hey, and because of that, I think sometimes we hide these things. And we need more spaces like this, both sides of the conversation, with what Fiki is doing, what Sister Elika is doing, that we can talk about these things, that some of these things that we experience as human beings is natural. And it's perfectly predictable that's going to happen as Black people in an urbanized society separated from our source. And I think more of us that are doing the work that we need to do, have to step up and be visible so that we can talk about it and also do things with our bodies, such as yoga and the exercise, the mantras, which actually help put in positive thoughts and positive energy so that those negative thoughts and energy don't override. So there's an answer to a lot of this, and I know it's something that's very close to me with having family members and friends who are have struggled with mental health and are currently struggling with it. And my prayers is that anybody, any of us experiencing it, that is just as I journey through it, that today is not as bad as it was yesterday, because it's something constant that we have to deal with as we go to sleep and wake up every morning. But it's something that's serious in our community.
Shay. Thank you. Sister Alika.
Yeah, such a beautiful video, and so good to see folks from the community like Ashanti and Brother Ty, and some people from class also was in there. So yeah, I always keep talking about, that silver lining of the pandemic, although there has been a lot of loss and sadness and, just, yeah, a lot of suffering. I think some of the blessing is that we're talking about these things more openly now, and all these, posts on social media saying it's okay to say you're not okay, and not just like, I forgot exactly how Shaka Jamal put it, but not just how are you, not how are you doing, but like how are you?
What's wrong with you?
Right. Not like what's wrong with you, but really getting people to say how you're feeling. I think I thought I also heard him say, and I think I heard a Native American elder. This might be too deep for some folks, but ask somebody like, how is your heart? Right. And I know not everybody's ready for that question. They're like, what? It's beating, like it's good. Right. But people who can speak to that, like, oh, it feels heavy, or, oh, it is beating fast, and I don't even know how to connect with this energy. And but I'm really glad that folks are talking about it. I lost a nephew who couldn't talk about these things, and it's that age where I keep seeing people leave this planet and take their lives, like 25 to 30. They call it Saturn return around that age, and my nephew, took his life right before his 27th birthday, and but I'm so grateful because he made videos too. He was a cinematographer, and he left such a legacy, and he danced and he smiled and he laughed, and he has, I feel like he left this legacy, this message of upliftment and follow your dreams, involved with creative passions. And so I think people remember that. They don't remember just this sadness, and I'm just really hoping that we can reach out to young folks more and get them moving their bodies. And the title of the book that I was trying to remember from Alice Walker, it's a book of poems. It's called Hard Times Require Furious Dancing. And I think, connecting young people with the drumming, with the dancing, before they get into these very low states, these, difficult states while they're young, is so important. So they remember that rhythm. They remember that connection with their ancestors in some way, a song, some kind of beat that calls to them. It comes back to them when they're struggling. I pray that, we can reach them younger, and then also just keep connecting with Black men, and they can talk about their feelings and know that it's not a weakness to cry and to hug each other and say, I love you, man. I think this is just seeing that more regularly now amongst young brothers and older, also just really letting down their kind of their guard, their walls, and being vulnerable is just, it's encouraging to me, and hope I see more of this, and that, I can also be a part of this, this message and this transformation out there.
Wow, this is deep today, y'all going real deep on me today. I'm on another planet right now, but I love this because I think this is what we really need in our community, brother Shaka. You coming here, and thank you, Dr. Mo, for bringing these two magnificent individuals here today. Because one of the things when we talk about mental health in our community is we need Black male vulnerability. We don't have enough Black males to step up. So it's nice to see Aaron and some of those other folks on there. Because I really believe the way out of this is other Black men need to see Black men be vulnerable about the issues, the struggles. We talk about depression, we talk about anxiety, we talk about some of the things that we deal with, especially when we talk about relationship breakup and a number of other things that really impact Black males in our community. And the more of us that come forward and be vulnerable to talk about it, I think it starts to loosen that toughness, or that, this is soft, but we really could get to that space of openness and honesty. So I really appreciate you, brother Shaka, just for coming on and talking about that, because I think that is what we need more in our community. And again, I said it last week and I'll say it again. It's nothing against the women of our community, but the services are there for the women. But we don't have a lot of it for our Black brothers in the community. And I keep telling people the way we fix the community is we have to have the same energy that we put for our women health as well as the male health. We got to change both dynamics of our community to really push it forward. And it's starting to go that way, but we need these services for our young folks. I mean, it's badly needed.
Maybe Rafiki can host a retreat for the men.
Hey, yeah, anytime.
Yeah, because one thing I really believe is that when we're living on concrete, it makes it hard to get grounded. No pun intended with all that, but sometimes we have to be in nature and get away from all the noises that's in the city so that we can hear what's going on in our own minds and our own hearts. We're on social media, on the news every day. We have everyone else's thoughts that we're taking in, everyone else's ideas that we're taking in, and not really taking ours into account. So we become reactionary, right? Instead of coming from a grounded space, say, okay, this is how I'm going to address what's in front of me. And when we're not grounded, we take all that energy home, right? And they say the man is the head of the household, but they say with the woman is the neck. We'll twist the head whichever way it wants to. But but if we come in as the head, we also have to think. And I realize, are we thinking our thoughts or these other people's thoughts or other things' thoughts? So, Dr. Mo, if we can, get out the city for a few days. And
hey, I'm down. I got it. So John Henry and Shaka, you are the opening co-facilitators of this male retreat. We're gonna make it happen. It's going in my budget next year. And the 28 days 30 days or whatever you're doing for Black men's yoga, I'm supporting that. So we on it.
Yeah, some of those brothers from the video, we got to bring them because they had some serious perspective.
Yeah,
and I know they work with. Sorry, what were you saying?
No. I was just saying, unfortunately, Jerry. Hopefully, we can get Jerry and
Aaron.
Help me out, Aaron. I was like, brother Aaron. I haven't seen him in a minute. Out, but unfortunately, Mr. Robinson passed away. Who was in the video, the OG brother. So it actually made me really sad to see it.
I'm sorry,
because we lost it. We lost him during the pandemic. And so I don't even know any information really about what happened. So he's missed. He is missed. And I know that he's excited about this from the ancestral realm because he always was an amazing supporter of Rafiki. And
I remember.
Yeah, so we definitely want to keep focusing on men's health and Black men's health, Black women's health, everybody's health, because we can't do this without everyone. And I think Shaka, it was like, I heard you say, well, Black, the man is considered the head of the household. And I'm like, well, I have a household, so I'm the head and the neck. What's going to happen? My head is going one way, my neck is going the other. So we gotta, there's some things where we don't have necessarily those multiple perspectives that we used to be able to have when our society was healthy and when we had less of our Black men incarcerated and murdered. Go ahead, John.
Oh no, I was just gonna say to what Shaka was saying. I think is very important, because I think we invest a lot of times in the Black community for concerts and things of that nature. And I was really thinking about how do we get some of our young Black males and some of the elders to go, like you said, get to that wilderness, right, and go fishing. That's why I always tell the young folks when I go mentor kids at juvenile hall. I always tell them, get you a fishing pole and go out there, right, because it's something about the water that calms you, and you sitting there, you thinking and you're processing, right? But when we get these young men, we need to have the conversation. Too many times we get our young folks around, and that's why I appreciate the brother from the first one, talking about, our young folks. We get around them sometimes and we just don't know how to connect with them. And I think if you get to that pace of the wilderness and fishing, and then we open up that dialogue, right? And to what the sister said about how's your heart. I got to use that one because I'm really working on this new thing when people say, how you doing? Instead of just saying, okay, like really like whatever it is at that point, just saying, this is what it is. Because a lot of times in our community, we ask people when we do this check-in, because that's really the check-in. How are you doing? Everybody, oh, everything's great. And 3 hours later, you see them on social media, they going nuts, everything.
And also some of the words that we assign to these things. People are you depressed? Right now, I ain't depressed. Right. So when I was living in South Africa in the village, they didn't really have words for depressed and stuff like that. But they said they would say that person isn't free. Right. So I think maybe our perspective might be also, is there anything that is conflicting with our freedom? Right. Is there anything with that is stopping us from feeling free? Right. Because I also feel like, especially during this quarantine, people are feeling confined. Right. And when you confined over a course of time and you don't have freedom of movement, freedom of thought, expression, things begin to explode. So maybe,
Yes.
like you said, how is your heart? And maybe it's just the way that we talk about it, because maybe those words that we are using isn't really connecting with what's going on inside.
For real. And I love the freedom piece because that's so important for in our folks. And I also it's about peace. Like when I recognized that I was having these days off or part of my days off and everything was going on around me constantly, I was not at peace. And it's like by the end of the time that I was supposed to have off, I found some peace, right? I found peace. But it took a long time for me to find some peace. And so, I wasn't feeling free. I wasn't feeling peaceful, so how do we get ourselves to peace and freedom amongst all this chaos and amongst other people restricting us constantly? And it, makes me think about, anti-Blackness and about, the brother the Amir that was shot in his living room, on the couch. So how can we feel free? How can we feel at peace, when we're still in this society? And so like the connection, of course, is nature, but we're so disconnected from nature in so many ways because we're living in these concrete jungles, and so how do we get to those places and have freedom and space, to do that, to go fishing, to put our feet on the earth, not on the concrete, I see Elika out there in her home in the South now, and I'm like, oh, she looks freer, a lot freer. You look a lot freer, sis. Out there, doing that South thing. Because I don't know if that's how you feel.
I do. I do. But when I hear what's going on in Oakland and, my friend's studio just got broken into, I heard about the shooting at Kume Spa, and I'm like, ooh, I feel like, I feel a little bit like, I guess maybe a martyr is a good word. Like I left, to come to this peaceful country life and, I should have stayed there and, kind of fought the fight, been a revolutionary at the lake. I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. I needed to do this for my mental health, for my well-being where I'm at. I put 8 years in Oakland with getting my car broken into all the time. I'm cool. And I'm trying to do what I can from this place. It's devastating to walk around and be, a Black man or a Black woman and not feel safe and always, wondering what's going to happen next. And, it's very sad to hear what's going on. And I just wanted to share something. I really love that idea of someone who has depression or, struggles mentally. that they're not free. And just want to add Thich Nhat Hanh into this mix a little bit, since he just passed. He's a Vietnamese brother, lived 95 years on this planet. And he would say, you know, not everybody maybe would be able to relate to this, but he'd say, you can brush your teeth in a way that takes you to freedom. And I was like, what? And he's like, so you're not worrying about what's coming up next. You're not worrying about what happened next or yesterday. You're just brushing your teeth and you're feeling it. You're listening. You're really present. And also with the walking meditation. And maybe that's something y'all can do, you know, close to the city. You don't have to go, you know, to a retreat place, but you go somewhere somewhat in some nature with some trees and do some really slow walking meditation and just get young people to, you know, feel the earth, maybe take off their shoes if there's nothing there dangerous, you know, and yeah, really get connected with nature that way.
Yeah, I think it's very powerful. Even though I just met you two today, I was going to say Shaka and sister, it's a lot of energy radiating from you all. You lighten up the whole thing. That's just beautiful. And I think this is what our people, you know, we have to get to that. And, you know, that country life, that slowness. But, you know, it is so many things happening. And I just learned about Mercury retrograde or something. We just come out of that. And I'm like, what is it?
Yeah.
Hallelujah. We have no more of that for like a month and a half or something. So we gonna be free. We have opportunities for freedom.
Definitely.
So y'all, I know we gotta start wrapping it up.
Yes.
What I would want to invite you both to well, I want to see if Elika would go first this time, and you know, any parting thoughts and ideas, and then Shaka, I was wondering if you could do the mantra that you know that you do, if that's okay. And I just want to say, you know, for my closing piece, is that I go back to Dr. Cornel West, and he says that love in public looks like justice. So when we're working on our loving ourselves, you know, we also, it can be very hard when we feel like we don't have justice. And so I want to encourage us to figure out a way to practice, as you said, Elika, the toothbrushing thing. It's just like in this moment, you know, from Brother Thich Nhat Hanh, as an ancestor now, in this moment, can I sit here and enjoy, you know, this rose that is right here in front of me? You know, can I just, you know, and be free in the smell of this rose? And that's my practice. And so I'm very, very grateful to you for that. And so I want to turn this over to Brother Shaka to close us out. After, if there's anything else you want to share.
Go ahead, Elika.
Me? Oh, just, yeah, really quick. I just shared this quote, and it's been said so many times, but Audre Lorde just continues to inspire me with, you know, self-care is not indulgence, right? It is self-preservation. And she says, and that in itself is an act of political warfare. And more so when she was writing that, I think in the 60s and 70s, but definitely, you know, self-care is so critical. And you can do that by saying no to, you know, something that doesn't lift you up and honor you, honor your truth. And you can say yes to yourself and yes to maybe, you know, family, or just, you know, more compassion. I really think giving compassion to ourselves as easily as we give to children and elderly folks is really needed right now in a world that can feel so conflicting. So I'm also practicing more compassion with myself. Less criticism for myself is also results in less criticism and judgment of others.
That's right. Yeah, if you're going to be, I want to echo that. If you want to be in any form of warfare, self-care, you know, uplifting of yourself, and with that comes the people, you know. So with that, we'll close with a mantra. And a mantra is just a affirmation, and a positive form of affirmation where we tell ourselves something over and over again, till we actually believe it. If we don't believe it in the beginning, and if we do believe it, it just becomes a part of our vibration and our way of life. And the mantra is, My mind is strong. My body is strong. I am unbounded faith. I am hope. And I'd like to invite everybody to say it with me, repeating it after me, and we'll do it 4 times. All right, in honor of the 4 directions. All right, beginning now. My mind is strong. My body is strong. I am unbounded faith. I am hope. My mind is strong. My body is strong. I am unbounded faith. I am hope. My mind is strong. My body is strong. I am unbounded faith. I am hope. My mind is strong. My body is strong. I am unbounded faith. I am hope.
Ashe. That was deep, brother. I love that. I love that. Affirmations is always what we need in our community, especially as we build up our community with our young folks, letting them know that they are great. They are kings and queens, and we have to continue to push that positivity into the minds of our young folks, as there's so much negativity around us, as the negative energy spreads around our communities. We have to continue to push positivity. So, thank you all for coming on today. This has been a very inspiring, insightful conversation today. I have learned some tools today. Community, I hope you were able to take away some of the techniques that you can utilize in the morning, and you can utilize to calm yourself as we are continuing to focus on health, wellness in our community. We need to use these tools to pass on to the young folks and to our different folks in the community. We are honored to have Rafiki Coalition a part of this movement as we continue to talk about health and wellness. The call to action today is love yourself and love others. You heard it from the sister: compassion, humility, empathy. That's what we have to pour into our community as we are in these times of crisis. We are in these times of unknown, and we still have to stand up and be resilient and be open to other things to help move our community forward. Thank you all for joining us today for this Sunday conversation. This was powerful. You could go to our YouTube channel. You could replay it if you missed. I know the Pro Bowl is on. People are doing other things out in the community. This was something that was much needed. Hopefully we can continue this conversation in our community as we continue to try to break that line of the taboo and the stigma. And it starts with these conversations. We believe here at both sides of the conversation, the pathway to healing is through communication, and it starts with these type of Sunday conversations. Dr. Mo, you did it again. You knocked out of the box. Sister and brother Shaka, man, marvelous. I'm looking forward to seeing what the future is going to look like. We have to put together one of these retreats, and we got to get our young folks and some of our folks in the community out of the concrete jungle and into the wilderness to put together that grounding effect that we need in our community so badly. So with that being said, everybody, this Tuesday we'll have another segment of our Hidden Gem segment on Tuesday, as well as our education on Thursday, as we start preparing for our Black Panther Party to come on for next Sunday for the or 20th for our historic Black Panther Legacy Keepers. We're going to continue to keep pushing on. There's a number of community events that will be taking place. Please, community, all of the events that are coming through, please send them over to events@bsotc.org so that we can make sure on all of our live programming and our social media handles, we could get those events and information out to the community. The whole purpose is to connect our community to these resources, and we want to make sure that everybody has the information so that they can be a part of it. And Dr. Mo, anything else you want to say before we go check out today?
No, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. So God bless everybody. Be safe and have a great start of the week. Wake up tomorrow Monday morning fresh, feet on the ground, and start that breathing and spin around in your chair while you're on Zoom. Got some techniques, y'all. All right, community. We love you. Thank you. We'll see you.
Thanks for having us, brother.
All right. All power to the people.
Blessings.
All right.